It was a day no one on Earth would ever forget. The skies above the planet had been calm that morning, painted in soft hues of orange and pink as the sun rose over the horizon. People went about their lives, children heading to school, workers commuting to offices, farmers tending fields, all unaware that humanity stood at the brink of something extraordinary. The first sign came just after noon. A strange object appeared in the sky, shimmering faintly against the blue expanse. At first, people thought it might be some kind of weather anomaly, or perhaps a satellite malfunction. But this wasn't anything ordinary. This was an alien ship, a sleek, metallic vessel that hovered silently above the Pacific Ocean. It didn't look like anything from Earth's science fiction movies. Instead of sharp edges or menacing spikes, its design was smooth and elegant, almost organic in appearance. Some described it as looking more like a living creature than a machine. News spread quickly. Within hours, every television channel, radio station, and social media platform was buzzing with speculation. Was this the end? Were they here to conquer? Or maybe, just maybe, they were here to talk. Governments scrambled to respond. Emergency meetings were held in secret bunkers around the world. Military forces were put on high alert, though no one dared make the first move. For now, all anyone could do was watch and wait. The alien craft stayed where it was, hovering motionless above the water. There were no signs of hostility, no weapons being deployed, no attempts to communicate beyond its mere presence. Days passed, and still it remained there, silent and patient. Scientists pointed out that if these visitors intended harm, they could have acted by now. After all, their technology clearly surpassed anything humans possessed. If they wanted to destroy Earth, they wouldn't need days to prepare. They'd already be done. Finally, on the fifth day, contact was made. A beam of light shot down from the ship, striking the ocean's surface without causing any damage. Moments later, a holographic figure materialized in the air near the coastline. It wasn't a physical being, but rather a projection. A tall, slender form with glowing eyes and intricate patterns etched into its translucent skin. Its voice resonated not through sound waves, but directly in the minds of those who watched. Humans, it began, speaking in perfect English, we come in peace. People froze. Whether they were watching live broadcasts or hearing secondhand reports, the message sent shock waves across the globe. Peace? Could it really be true? The figure continued, explaining that its species had observed Earth for centuries, studying humanity's progress and potential. They claimed to mean no harm and expressed hope for mutual understanding between their civilizations. At first, skepticism reigned supreme. How could anyone trust beings so different, so advanced? Conspiracy theories ran rampant. Some believed the aliens were lying, using peace as a cover to lull humanity into complacency before launching an attack. Others argued that even if their intentions seemed genuine, trusting them blindly would be reckless. Still, there were voices of reason. Leaders emerged, not politicians or celebrities, but ordinary people who urged caution and open-mindedness. These individuals reminded everyone that fear often led to poor decisions and that dismissing the possibility of peace outright would only escalate tensions unnecessarily. Eventually, a decision was reached. Humanity would agree to talks, but cautiously. Representatives from various nations gathered aboard an international space station, chosen as neutral ground for the historic meeting. The alien envoy arrived shortly afterward, transported via a smaller craft that detached from the massive mothership hovering far below. When the two groups finally came face to face, or rather, face to projection, the atmosphere was tense yet hopeful. The discussions began slowly, each side testing the waters. Questions flew back and forth. Who were they? Where did they come from? Now, what did they want? The answers provided by the aliens were both fascinating and unsettling. Their homeworld lay countless light years away, in a galaxy vastly different from the Milky Way. They spoke of ancient wars fought among their own kind, battles that nearly wiped out their civilization. From those ashes they had risen, vowing never again to repeat the mistakes of their past. Now they sought allies, not enemies, and saw humanity as a promising candidate for partnership. Despite their claims of goodwill, doubts lingered. Something about the situation felt off. Perhaps it was the way the aliens avoided certain questions, deflecting them with vague responses. Or perhaps it was the sheer magnitude of what was unfolding. Whatever the reason, unease simmered beneath the surface, shared by many but voiced by few. As the days turned into weeks, the negotiations grew more complex. Agreements were drafted, proposals exchanged, compromises considered. Yet amidst all the diplomacy, a question loomed large in the minds of those involved. Was this truly the beginning of a new era, or merely the calm before the storm? The negotiations aboard the space station continued, but something felt wrong. It wasn't just paranoia or mistrust. It was subtle details that didn't add up. The alien envoy spoke eloquently, their holographic form calm and composed. Yet there were moments when their responses seemed rehearsed, almost mechanical. They avoided certain topics entirely, redirecting conversations with practiced ease whenever sensitive questions arose. One such question came during a discussion about technology exchange, where humanity had proposed sharing advancements in renewable energy, hoping to demonstrate goodwill. In return, they asked for insight into the aliens' faster-than-light travel systems, a request met with polite refusal. "Our methods are too complex for your current understanding," the envoy explained, their voice smooth but firm. "Attempting to replicate them could endanger your species." Fair enough, or so it seemed. But later that evening, as the human delegation reviewed recordings of the day's sessions, someone noticed something odd. During the conversation about technology, the alien projection flickered briefly, almost imperceptibly. At first glance, it appeared to be nothing more than a technical glitch. However, upon closer inspection, analysts discovered something buried within the data stream: fragments of encrypted information. The curiosity turned to suspicion overnight. Scientists worked tirelessly to decode the fragments, piecing together what little they could. What they uncovered sent chills down everyone's spines. Hidden beneath layers of obfuscation was evidence of advanced weaponry. Weapons far deadlier than anything humanity possessed. Worse still, these weapons weren't stored remotely on the mothership. They were embedded within the smaller craft that had ferried the envoy to the space station. News of the discovery spread cautiously among the human team. No one wanted to jump to conclusions, not yet, but the implications were impossible to ignore. If the aliens truly meant peace, why bring weapons to the negotiating table? And why hide them so carefully? These questions gnawed at the edges of every decision, casting doubt over everything the envoy had said. When, despite the growing unease, the talks pressed on, the humans decided not to confront the aliens immediately. Instead, they chose to gather more evidence, quietly observing and analyzing every interaction. Cameras were discreetly repositioned to capture new angles of the alien craft. Sensors monitored energy signatures, searching for anomalies. Even the air inside the station was sampled repeatedly, testing for trace elements that might reveal hidden tech. Meanwhile, tensions simmered below the surface. Among the human delegation, opinions began to diverge. Some argued that the weapons could simply be standard protocol, a precautionary measure rather than a sign of hostility. After all, if roles were reversed, wouldn't humanity do the same? Others disagreed vehemently, insisting that carrying concealed armaments into a peaceful negotiation was inherently suspicious. Trust, once fragile, now teetered on the edge of collapse. Amidst the debate, one individual stood out, not because of rank or authority, but because of perspective. A scientist specializing in xenobiology, this person had spent years studying hypothetical scenarios involving extraterrestrial life. Their insights proved invaluable, offering a balanced view that others struggled to maintain. "We can't assume malice based solely on this discovery," they cautioned during a heated meeting, "but we also can't afford to dismiss it outright. We need proof, not assumptions." Proof came sooner than expected. Late one night, while most of the delegation slept, a maintenance crew conducting routine checks stumbled upon something startling. Beneath the floor panels of the docking bay, where the alien shuttle rested, they found faint scorch marks, marks consistent with high-energy discharges. Further investigation revealed microscopic traces of exotic metals, materials unknown to Earth, but matching descriptions of components used in alien weaponry. Word of the findings reached the leadership team by morning. Panic threatened to take hold, but cooler heads prevailed. Rather than escalating the situation prematurely, they decided to use the information strategically. Plans were drawn up to subtly probe the aliens, testing their reactions without revealing how much was already known. It was a risky move, but necessary. Every action, every word exchanged from that point forward carried weight, each side dancing delicately around the truth. Back in the negotiation room, the atmosphere shifted subtly. The humans adopted a more cautious tone, asking pointed questions about safety protocols and contingency plans. The aliens responded smoothly, never betraying even a hint of discomfort. Yet their body language, or rather the movements of their holographic projection, betrayed tiny inconsistencies. A slight hesitation here, an awkward pause there. To the untrained eye, these nuances might have gone unnoticed, but to those who knew what to look for, they painted a picture of deception. As days turned into weeks, the pressure mounted. The human delegation faced mounting scrutiny from governments back on Earth, each nation demanding answers and assurances. Public opinion swung wildly between hope and fear, fueled by conflicting reports in the media. Rumors swirled about secret deals, covert operations, and worst-case scenarios. Amidst the chaos, unity became harder to maintain. Cracks began to form within the delegation itself, threatening to undermine the entire mission. Yet through it all, One thing remained clear: the stakes had never been higher. Whatever happened next would shape not only humanity's relationship with these visitors, but also its place in the cosmos. The aliens claimed to seek peace, but their actions told a different story. And as the humans prepared to make their next move, one question lingered in everyone's mind. Were they dealing with allies or adversaries? The discovery of hidden weapons aboard the alien shuttle changed everything, or so it seemed. Yet despite mounting evidence pointing toward deception, humanity hesitated. Confronting the aliens outright could escalate tensions beyond repair, potentially sparking a conflict no one was prepared for. Instead, the human delegation opted for subtlety, choosing to gather more intelligence before making their next move. Behind closed doors, plans were drawn up in secret. Engineers and scientists worked around the clock, analyzing every scrap of data collected from the alien craft. The scorch marks found beneath the docking bay floor provided crucial clues, revealing traces of energy signatures unlike anything seen on Earth. These readings matched descriptions of advanced plasma-based weaponry, weapons capable of devastating entire cities with pinpoint accuracy. It was chilling to think that such power had been sitting mere meters away, concealed beneath layers of diplomatic charm. Meanwhile, the negotiations continued, though the atmosphere grew increasingly strained. While the humans adopted a dual approach, outwardly cooperative, but inwardly vigilant. They asked probing questions about the aliens' intentions, carefully observing their reactions. Every word spoken by the envoy was scrutinized, every gesture dissected for hidden meaning. And while the aliens maintained their composure, small cracks began to show. Subtle pauses, fleeting expressions of unease. It wasn't much, but it was enough to confirm suspicions. Back on Earth, governments convened emergency sessions, debating how best to proceed. Military leaders argued for immediate action, urging the deployment of Earth's most advanced defense systems as a show of strength. Diplomats countered, insisting that patience and caution were key. Public opinion remained divided, fueled by conflicting reports in the media. Some outlets portrayed the aliens as benevolent saviors, while others painted them as invaders biding their time. Amidst the chaos, one thing became clear: unity was slipping through humanity's fingers. It was during this period of uncertainty that an unexpected development occurred. Deep within classified military archives, researchers uncovered blueprints for a project long thought abandoned, a prototype dreadnought designed decades earlier as part of a contingency plan against extraterrestrial threats. Dubbed Project Sentinel, the initiative had been shelved due to budget constraints and skepticism over its necessity. But now faced with undeniable proof of alien hostility, the decision was made to reactivate it. The dreadnought, codenamed Eclipse, would represented humanity's greatest technological achievement, a massive warship equipped with cutting-edge weaponry and cloaking technology. Unlike anything currently in service, Eclipse had been designed specifically to counter superior alien forces. Its existence had been kept secret not only from the public, but also from most government officials. Even among those aware of its creation, few believed it would ever see active duty. With time running short, engineers scrambled to prepare Eclipse for launch. Systems were tested, crews trained, and final adjustments made. The ship's cloaking mechanism, in particular, received special attention. Designed to render eclipse invisible to both visual and sensor detection, it allowed the vessel to operate undetected, a critical advantage given the aliens' superior surveillance capabilities. If deployed strategically, Eclipse could tip the scales in humanity's favor without triggering open warfare. As preparations neared completion, the human delegation aboard the space station faced a dilemma. Should they reveal the existence of Eclipse to the aliens as a deterrent, or keep it hidden, using it only as a last resort? Opinions varied widely. Some believed transparency might force the aliens to reconsider their stance, demonstrating humanity's resolve without resorting to violence. Others argued that secrecy was paramount. If the aliens learned of Eclipse too soon, they might take preemptive measures, rendering the advantage useless. Ultimately, the decision was made to hold off on disclosure for now. Instead, the humans focused on buying time, prolonging the negotiations while stalling for Eclipse's arrival. And this proved easier said than done. The aliens, perhaps sensing the shift in dynamics, grew increasingly impatient. Their once polite demeanor gave way to thinly veiled frustration, their holographic projection flickering occasionally as if struggling to maintain composure. One particularly tense exchange occurred when the topic of Earth's planetary defenses arose. The aliens inquired casually about humanity's ability to protect itself, framing the question as academic interest. The humans responded evasively, citing ongoing upgrades and unspecified advancements. It was a calculated risk. Lying outright would have been too obvious, but offering vague reassurances seemed to satisfy the aliens. For the moment. Unbeknownst to the delegation, however, events back on Earth were spiraling out of control. Where rumors of the alien weapons leak spread rapidly, igniting protests and riots in major cities worldwide. Citizens demanded answers, accusing governments of withholding vital information. Conspiracy theories flourished, ranging from claims of alien infiltration to accusations of human betrayal. In some regions, panic led to looting and violence, straining law enforcement resources to the breaking point. Amidst the turmoil, a bold decision was made. Under cover of darkness, Eclipse launched from a remote orbital platform, its engines silent and its presence masked by the cloaking device. For the first time in history, humanity's greatest weapon slipped into the void, heading toward the alien mothership hovering above the Pacific Ocean. Its mission was simple yet fraught with peril. Gather intelligence, assess the enemy's capabilities, and, if necessary, strike decisively. On board Eclipse, the crew operated under strict radio silence. Communication with Earth was limited to encrypted bursts transmitted at irregular intervals, ensuring minimal risk of interception. Tension ran high among the team, each member acutely aware of the stakes involved. Failure wasn't an option, not when the fate of billions hung in the balance. As Eclipse approached the alien fleet, sensors detected unusual activity. Energy readings spiked intermittently, suggesting the aliens were conducting tests or calibrating their own systems. Whether these actions signaled preparation for attack or routine maintenance remained unclear. Regardless, the timing couldn't have been worse. With Eclipse closing in, the potential for accidental discovery loomed large. Inside the space station, and the human delegation braced themselves for what came next. They knew Eclipse's arrival marked a turning point, one that could either defuse the situation or ignite full-scale war. Each passing hour brought them closer to the unknown, the weight of responsibility pressing heavily on their shoulders. Trust, already fragile, teetered precariously on the edge of collapse. And then, just as hope began to fade, a breakthrough occurred. Data intercepted by Eclipse revealed something startling. The aliens weren't united. Internal communications hinted at divisions within their ranks, disagreements over whether to pursue peace or domination. For the first time since contact began, humanity glimpsed a glimmer of opportunity, a chance to exploit fractures in the alien alliance and turn the tide in their favor. But seizing that opportunity wouldn't be easy. Timing, precision, and nerve would all play crucial roles in determining success. As Eclipse positioned itself for its next move, the human delegation aboard the space station prepared to make theirs. Whatever happened next would redefine not only humanity's future, but also its place among the stars. The revelation that the aliens weren't united sent shockwaves through the human delegation aboard the space station. It was a glimmer of hope in an otherwise bleak situation, a chance to exploit divisions within their ranks and tip the scales in humanity's favor. But exploiting those fractures wouldn't be easy. Every decision carried risks, and the wrong move could escalate tensions into outright war. Back on Eclipse, the crew worked tirelessly to gather more intelligence. The ship's advanced sensors scanned the alien mothership, picking up faint traces of internal communications. These transmissions were heavily encrypted, but fragments began to emerge after hours of decryption efforts. What they revealed painted a complex picture. Factions within the alien leadership clashed over strategy. One group advocated for continued diplomacy, believing humanity could be swayed through persuasion. Another faction pushed for aggression, viewing humans as a potential threat that needed to be neutralized before they grew stronger. This division wasn't just philosophical, it had practical implications. Data suggested that the weapons hidden aboard the smaller shuttle weren't merely defensive tools. They were part of a contingency plan crafted by the aggressive faction. And if negotiations failed, or if the humans discovered too much, this faction intended to act decisively, using force to secure dominance. For the first time, humanity realized the precariousness of its position. They weren't dealing with a unified enemy, but rather a fractured alliance teetering on the brink of chaos. Armed with this knowledge, the human delegation devised a bold strategy. Rather than confronting the aliens directly, they decided to play both sides against each other. Their goal was simple: sow discord among the alien factions, creating enough doubt and mistrust to paralyze their decision-making process. It was a risky gambit, one that required careful timing and precise execution. Any misstep could backfire, exposing humanity's hand and triggering the very conflict they sought to avoid. The plan unfolded gradually, it starting with subtle shifts in negotiation tactics. During discussions, the humans deliberately highlighted discrepancies in the aliens' responses, pointing out contradictions without accusing anyone outright. "We've noticed inconsistencies in your explanations," one delegate remarked during a particularly tense session. "It's becoming difficult to reconcile these differences." The comment seemed innocuous enough, but its impact was immediate. The alien envoy hesitated, their holographic projection flickering slightly as if struggling to maintain composure. Behind the scenes, Eclipse played a crucial role in amplifying these efforts. Using its cloaking technology, the dreadnought maneuvered closer to the alien mothership, intercepting additional communications and relaying them back to the space station. This allowed the human delegation to anticipate the aliens' reactions, giving them a strategic edge during negotiations. At the same time, Eclipse deployed drones equipped with passive surveillance systems, gathering visual data on activity inside the mothership. What they saw confirmed their worst fears. The aggressive faction was gaining ground. Tensions aboard the alien vessel were palpable. Observations revealed heated debates between rival groups, with gestures and expressions betraying deep-seated animosity. In one instance, a high-ranking alien stormed out of a meeting chamber, slamming a metallic appendage against a wall in frustration. Moments later, another figure emerged, visibly agitated, and issued orders to nearby subordinates. Though the exact nature of their conversation remained unclear, the body language spoke volumes. Where the aliens weren't just divided, they were on the verge of splintering apart. As the days passed, the human delegation grew bolder, leveraging their newfound insights to drive a wedge between the factions. They began dropping hints about Earth's military capabilities, carefully phrased to suggest strength without revealing specifics. Our planet has invested heavily in defense systems, one representative stated during a session. We're confident in our ability to protect ourselves should the need arise. Again, the statement appeared harmless, yet its underlying message resonated deeply. To the diplomatic faction, it served as a reminder of humanity's resilience, an incentive to pursue peace. To the aggressive faction, it sounded like a veiled threat, fueling their paranoia and reinforcing their belief that action must be taken swiftly. Meanwhile, public opinion on Earth reached a boiling point. News of the alien weapons leak spread uncontrollably, sparking widespread panic and unrest. Governments struggled to maintain order as protests erupted in cities worldwide. Some called for immediate retaliation, demanding that humanity strike first before the aliens could attack. Others pleaded for restraint, urging leaders to exhaust all diplomatic options before resorting to violence. Caught in the crossfire, officials faced mounting pressure to act decisively, yet no consensus emerged on what course to take. Amidst the chaos, Eclipse received new orders. Prepare for a show of force. While still cloaked, the dreadnought moved into position near the alien mothership, its presence undetectable but unmistakable. Sensors monitored every movement aboard the alien vessel, ready to respond at a moment's notice. The crew knew that deploying Eclipse openly would shatter centuries of stealth protocols, marking humanity's first overt display of power. Yet the stakes demanded nothing less. If the aliens detected even a hint of hesitation, they might seize the initiative, and once lost, the advantage would be nearly impossible to reclaim. On board the space station, the final pieces of the puzzle fell into place. Armed with irrefutable evidence of the aliens' deception, the human delegation prepared to make their stand. Their plan was twofold: expose the truth to the diplomatic faction while simultaneously intimidating the aggressive faction into submission. Timing was critical. Both actions had to occur simultaneously to maximize impact and minimize risk. When the moment arrived, the atmosphere aboard the station crackled with tension. The lead negotiator addressed the alien envoy, their voice steady despite the weight of what they were about to say. "We know about the weapons you've concealed," they began, holding up a tablet displaying decrypted data. "And we know there are disagreements within your ranks about how to proceed. We urge you to reconsider your approach before it's too late." For a brief moment, silence reigned. Then chaos erupted. The alien projection flickered violently, its form distorting as conflicting emotions surged beneath the surface. Voices erupted from unseen speakers, overlapping in a cacophony of anger and confusion. Clearly, the human's gambit had struck a nerve. Simultaneously, Eclipse decloaked, revealing itself in all its glory. Positioned mere kilometers from the alien mothership, in the dreadnought loomed large, its sleek design exuding raw power. Weapon systems powered up audibly, their hum reverberating through space. To the aliens, the message was clear. Humanity was not to be underestimated. Inside the mothership, pandemonium ensued. The aggressive factions scrambled to respond, issuing frantic orders to mobilize forces. But their counterparts, shaken by the humans' revelations, resisted, arguing that further escalation would only lead to disaster. As arguments raged, indecision paralyzed the alien command structure, leaving them vulnerable. For humanity, it was a moment of triumph, but also uncertainty. Had they pushed too far, or had they finally gained the upper hand? Only time would tell. But one thing was certain. The fragile balance of power had shifted irreversibly, setting the stage for whatever came next. The standoff between humanity and the alien fleet hung in the balance, teetering on the edge of either resolution or ruin. Inside the mothership, chaos reigned as rival factions clashed over what to do next. The aggressive faction, desperate to salvage their position, pushed for an immediate counterattack against Eclipse. But the diplomatic faction, shaken by the humans' revelations, resisted fiercely, arguing that further aggression would only lead to mutual destruction. Caught in the middle, lower-ranking aliens scrambled to follow conflicting orders, their confusion evident in erratic movements and disjointed communications. Back aboard the space station, the human delegation watched anxiously as events unfolded. They had played their cards carefully, exposing the truth about the hidden weapons while simultaneously demonstrating Earth's newfound strength with Eclipse. Yet now they faced the hardest part, waiting to see whether their gambit would pay off. Every second stretched like an eternity, each heartbeat echoing the uncertainty of what might happen next. On board Eclipse, the crew braced themselves for any possibility. Weapon systems remained armed but not yet fired, a deliberate choice meant to signal readiness without crossing the line into outright hostility. The ship's cloaking device had been deactivated to make its presence known, a calculated risk designed to intimidate rather than provoke. Through the viewport, the massive alien mothership loomed ominously, its sleek surface reflecting faint glimmers of starlight. For all its technological superiority, it now seemed vulnerable, its internal fractures laid bare for everyone to see. As minutes ticked by, the situation aboard the alien vessel grew increasingly volatile. Observations from Eclipse's drones revealed heated confrontations among the leadership, with gestures becoming more aggressive and voices rising sharply. At one point, a high-ranking figure from the aggressive faction stormed toward a control panel, attempting to override commands issued by their diplomatic counterpart. A physical altercation ensued, shocking even the most seasoned observers. Clearly, the aliens' internal divisions were spiraling out of control. Then unexpectedly, communication channels opened. A new holographic projection materialized in the negotiation room aboard the space station. Not of the original envoy, but of a different figure altogether. Where this alien appeared older, its translucent form etched with intricate patterns that suggested wisdom and authority. Its voice resonated calmly, cutting through the tension like a knife. "We acknowledge your concerns," it began, addressing the human delegation directly. "And we recognize the divisions within our own ranks. These disagreements have clouded our judgment and complicated our mission. We seek no conflict, but neither can we ignore the realities of our situation." The statement caught everyone off guard. Was this a genuine attempt at reconciliation, or another ploy to buy time? The humans exchanged cautious glances, weighing their options. After a brief pause, the lead negotiator responded carefully. "If you truly mean peace, then prove it. Withdraw your forces, dismantle the concealed weapons, and commit to transparency moving forward. Only then can trust begin to rebuild." The alien leader hesitated, its glowing eyes flickering faintly as if processing the request. Finally, it nodded slowly. "We will comply, but under one condition. Your warship must stand down as well, a gesture of goodwill to demonstrate your sincerity." It was a bold demand, one that carried significant risks. Standing down Eclipse would leave Earth exposed, relying solely on the aliens' promise of cooperation. Yet refusing could reignite hostilities, undoing all the progress made so far. The decision weighed heavily on the human delegation, who convened privately to discuss their options. After much deliberation, they agreed to accept the terms, but with safeguards in place. Eclipse would power down its weapon systems incrementally, where allowing the aliens to verify compliance while retaining the ability to reactivate them if necessary. In return, the aliens were required to provide real-time footage of their disarmament process, monitored by both human observers and Eclipse's surveillance drones. It was a fragile compromise built on mutual suspicion, but offering a path forward nonetheless. As the agreement took shape, tensions began to ease, albeit cautiously. Aboard the alien mothership, the aggressive faction reluctantly stood down, their influence waning as evidence mounted of their reckless behavior. Meanwhile, the diplomatic faction seized the opportunity to assert control, issuing directives aimed at stabilizing the situation. Orders went out to dismantle the hidden weapons, with crews working tirelessly to comply under the watchful eyes of human monitors. Back on Earth, news of the breakthrough sparked mixed reactions. Some celebrated the apparent resolution, hailing it as a triumph of diplomacy over fear. Others remained skeptical, warning that trusting the aliens too quickly could invite disaster. Governments struggled to strike a balance, issuing statements urging patience while reinforcing planetary defenses just in case. Amidst the uncertainty, a profound realization dawned on those involved. This wasn't just about survival, it was about coexistence. Humanity had stared into the abyss and emerged changed, forced to confront uncomfortable truths about itself and its place in the universe. The aliens, too, had been humbled, their arrogance tempered by the realization that they weren't invincible. Both sides had glimpsed the consequences of mistrust and miscommunication, and both had chosen, however tentatively, to step back from the brink. In the weeks that followed, efforts shifted toward rebuilding trust. Joint scientific initiatives were proposed, focusing on areas of mutual interest such as energy research and environmental sustainability. Cultural exchange programs were discussed, aiming to foster understanding between two vastly different civilizations. Progress was slow and fraught with challenges, but the mere fact that dialogue continued was a victory in itself. Yet beneath the surface, questions lingered. Could humanity ever fully trust these visitors? And could the aliens overcome their own divisions to honor their commitments? No one had definitive answers. What was clear, however, and was that the choices made in the coming months and years would shape not only the future of Earth, but also the destiny of countless worlds beyond. As Eclipse returned to orbit around Earth, its mission accomplished for now, the crew reflected on what they had witnessed. They had seen humanity at its best and worst, driven by fear yet capable of courage when it mattered most. They had encountered an alien species equally complex, flawed, and striving for something greater than themselves. And they had glimpsed the fragile thread connecting all life across the cosmos, a shared desire for hope amidst uncertainty. The galaxy watched closely, holding its breath as two civilizations embarked on an uncharted journey together. Whether it would lead to lasting peace or eventual conflict remained to be seen. But for the first time, when there was reason to believe that cooperation might prevail over conquest, that despite their differences, humanity and the aliens could find common ground. And so, as the sun rose once again over a restless planet, the story of first contact entered a new chapter, one written not in fear or anger, but in the quiet determination to build a better tomorrow.